are going to continue, or we are going to learn about the basics of WordPress, of web designing using the HTML, CSS and WordPress. But today, in a special way, I want to put all my emphasis on WordPress. That is basically where I want to put all my emphasis. And in today's session, I want us to learn how to install, download and configure WordPress. So why WordPress? There is there are a series of content management systems. For example, one of the most common is Microsoft Web Expression that some people use to come up with very many good websites. However, WordPress is a little superior than all of them. Maybe later after this we shall have a session to go through Microsoft Web Expression or Expression Web, whatever you may call it. We shall have a session to go through this. But today I want to start with WordPress. Why? I know I'm dealing with people who have intentions of teaching web designing to their learners, and the people who are also money oriented, who have plans of using this web designing to make money out of it. So today I want to teach you how you can use WordPress, and I'm going to basically rely so much on how you can use WordPress offline. Yeah, because most of us may not have enough bundles to design online. However, it is also easy and almost the same thing. Now, when you want to design WordPress offline, sometimes I mention about some steps that I usually tell my people, or sometimes I tell people on some steps to do. One, whenever we host our websites, we host them on servers, web servers. So once we host, let me admit someone. So once we host our websites, I'll request we mute. So once we host our websites, this is what happens. Let me just see. Okay. When we host our websites, this website or our web files are sent to what we call a web server. And it is from this web server that our files can be shared through our domain to all the devices all around the world whenever they ask for these devices. Now, when we are dealing with WordPress offline, we must set our computer to appear as though it is a web server. We must set our computer to appear as though it is a web server. And that is why always the first step when we want to use WordPress offline is to set up what we call a local host or a local server on our computers. And how do we do that? Usually we advise people to use XAMPP. I'm going to share the files. After I'm going to upload this recording to YouTube. So in the file description, I'll share the links that you can go through to download these programs that I'm going to use here. So I usually tell people to use XAMPP. It is called XAMPP localhost. However, there are others like WAMP, etc. You can just go to Google and be like programs that can work like XAMPP. So how do we download? I have this file downloaded both for a 32 GB machine and a 64 GB. So I'm going to share their links probably on my Google Drive. I'm going to share them in the description of this video on YouTube that I'm going to upload. However, if you feel you want to download, you can just go to your browser and you search for XAMPP. Just say XAMPP download, like that. Yeah, XAMPP download. It is supposed to be XAMPP. Yeah, like that. So after that, you just search for this, or you can say XAMPP download for Windows. Let me first allow someone here. Okay, my boss. So it is just you just come and say XAMPP download for Windows. So it is going to give you this web listing, and in this web listing it will show you links of the different software programs. I usually advise people to always download from the official website. When it comes to software, please download from the official website. So this is the official XAMPP website, and I'll just click on to it. then it will load. It will take me to the download kind of page. Then it will show me XAMPP for Windows, it has XAMPP for Linux, and it has XAMPP for OS X. So if you're using Apple and whatever, those MacBooks, you download this. If you're using Linux, you download this. And if you're using XAMPP, you download this. Always, these versions, the best version or the latest version will always be the best. For example, you have version 8.0, you have version 8.1 and 8.2. I would advise you come and download version 8.2. So just click on this. Its website is so direct, and it is telling you if your download will start automatically, and if it doesn't, please click here. So you give it some time, it will download. You just give it some few minutes and it will download. It will redirect to SourceForge. It is, if you feel you are impatient and it is not downloading at the speed that you want, you come and click here. However, it has downloaded. It is showing me that I'm downloading XAMPP installer 64-bit. Yeah, so that is basically all that we have. Me, I'll cancel it because I don't want to have it downloaded right now. I have my files somewhere here, and I believe I have this. Yeah, for example, I have this XAMPP 64-bit and I have the XAMPP 32-bit. So when you download it, the installer will look like this. Okay, let me try to view. Yeah, large icons. So the installer will look like this one here, XAMPP for Windows 64-bit. Now, where do we get the concept of 64 and 32-bit? It is just a very small thing. How we get it, it is usually so small. And how do we do it? You must know the architecture of your computer. For example, if how do you check this? Let me just show you how you check this. You come to your computer or this PC, my computer or this PC, right click and go to properties. When you go to that, it will open the settings kind of icon and it will show you the machine you're using, and what is so important, it is the system type. It will show you have a 64-bit operating system, and this is a 64-based processor. That 64-based processor is where the gist lies. There is where the gist lies. You must know, if my computer is a 64-based processor, it means it requires software of 64-bit. So as you're downloading these programs, or as you're installing these programs, maybe you're installing your VLC media player, maybe you're installing your whatever, always try to look for a file of a 64-bit based processor. That is why when I was downloading, or when I was telling you the files to install, I have this one of 32 and I have this one of 64. Me, I'll install this one of 64-bit. It is the one that I will install. So when I double click on it, I must have an executable file. When I double click on it, it will of course open and ask me, do you want to allow this app from unknown publisher to make changes? Please go ahead and say yes, because we want to install. It is likely due to an incomplete or corrupt downloaded file. Okay, let us try to download one here. Let me try to download one here, such that we can run this thing. I want to take you through that process of installing, but literally maybe I'll have a video on how to install, but I believe some people that I'm running with here know how to install software. Usually I tell people that when you're installing software, click on yes, install, download, it is okay, I accept, finish, such things. I usually tell people that when you're downloading software, please and please desist it from saying no when you are installing software, because when you say no, it means you'll be refusing some settings of the program to work. However, if you want to, please just go and say yes, finish, accept, I agree, and whatever, you'll have installed your program. Now, I will assume we have installed our XAMPP. I'll share a video, or people can ask if anyone is not very okay with this. But after that, I will assume people have installed their software. Now, after installing your software, what you do is to come and search for XAMPP. you come and search for XAMPP. When you search for XAMPP, it will after installing your XAMPP, it will install this program of XAMPP control panel. In other words, this is the interface that the XAMPP we have installed gives us. You open it. After opening it, what are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Some of you may not even be familiar with what we are doing, or may not be knowing what we are doing right now. We are trying to install WordPress on our computer. But we have said before we install WordPress, we start with installing XAMPP. Why do we install XAMPP? To make our computer appear as though it is a web server. That is basically why we do. So XAMPP has come. If you see it running here, it means it has come. So I'll try to have it displayed here. Sometimes my computer minimizes different things, but I'll try to have it installed. So that is the only reason why we have XAMPP. And when we see, when we run this XAMPP, we are going to see that we are basically going to run something that we call the programming languages, the Apache and the, okay. We are going to run the Apache and the MySQL. These are two programming languages that will help us in dealing with our this is how it looks like, the XAMPP control panel. I don't know whether it is very visible. Let me just try to make it a little big. So that is how it looks like. This is my XAMPP 3.3.0. And I make sure I come here in line with Apache. I start it. Then I come in line with MySQL and I also start it. These are like programming languages or modules, but MySQL is going to help us so much in making databases. This one. Yeah, but these ones are all modules. We shall look at these ones in the advanced functions. However, these two are basic. For the interest of our learners, these two are very basic. Ladies and gentlemen, we have installed our XAMPP. After installing our XAMPP, we have opened the XAMPP control panel, which looks like this. And we have installed our XAMPP and the Apache. Now what happens? Let me first stop them such that they are not running. Let me go back to my Chrome. We are offline. I'm going to be using my Chrome as my browser. However, you can do this, the same thing that I'm going to do here. You can do it using your Microsoft Edge. You can do it using your Mozilla Firefox. You can do it using any different thing that you may need. So me, I'm going to try to use this on-screen keyboard such that people can see what I'm typing. I'll come to my tab here and I type localhost. Localhost. I press enter. Okay. Yes, please, Jamira. Go ahead. Hello, yes, Jamira.
Yes, Laurie, thank you. But the voice is on and off. I don't know whether my phone is the one with issues. It's on and off.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Jamira. Is there any other person that is having the same challenge? Please talk to us such that we know whether it is only her problem or it is from my side. Are people all facing the same challenge? Mr. Sechikubo, is it the same challenge on your side? Hello? Yes, Bonita, is it the same challenge that side?
I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. Bonita says she's very fine. I don't know whether other people are facing the same challenge, but maybe Jamira, it is a network problem because I believe today I have very stable audio. So I don't know whether it is just that problem with your network. However, let me just go back. We have said after installing our XAMPP, we go to our computer and search for what we call the XAMPP control panel. And this one will, when we run it, it will be looking like this. I've told you to start Apache and MySQL. and I was trying to show you the difference of how it will look like if I've not started my Apache. So Apache and MySQL are not running right now. When I run localhost, or when I type localhost, this is what is going to happen. To tell me the site can't be reached. Now let me try to start my Apache and my SQL. Let me start these two such that they be running. After starting them, if I come and I refresh, you realize that it is going to take me to what we call the XAMPP control. We call it WP admin, PHP admin dashboard. This one, or it is called the XAMPP dashboard, whatever you can call it. But this has happened after me running my Apache and my SQL. That is the difference, and that is actually what it does. Now, why do we move to this side? This is for you to understand as a teacher. That is why I'm trying to be a bit slow when talking about it. Why? Because as a teacher, you're supposed to do, if your learners are going to use WordPress to do web designing, then you're supposed to do all these on their computers. For them, as they are entering or as they are doing their UNEB, yours is to just tell them that the username and the password are these. But it is your role to do all this because it is not part of the other time stipulated for UNEB paper. Now, why do we come to the localhost dashboard? We come here to do basically two things. One, we come here to create a user account, and we come here to create a database. A user account that we are going to be using to design our website, and that user account is going to be the admin account for this website that we shall design. And why do we create a database? Such that we are creating a database such that we have a back end for our website, and we have a location where our website can store its contents. I'll talk about the concept of a front end and a back end once more later. So when you reach here, what do? Just come and click on PHP My Admin. When you click on PHP My Admin, it is basically going to load, and it will take you to the PHP My Admin dashboard. It will take you to another interface of PHP My Admin, and that is where we are going to create our account from and the database from. It is just being a bit slow, maybe because it is getting confused. I'm running online, yet I'm using something that is offline. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm doing here is purely offline. You can do it when you are offline, just that my network is on, or my internet is on, for the interest of our Google Meet. Because if I turn off internet, of course we shall not be able to communicate. Are we together up to that point? Alright, so what we do here, I have this interface. It is showing me user accounts, and it is showing me databases. Me, I usually advise you come to user account, here where we have user account, and you click on to it, or you click on it, because always the user account comes before the database. What you do, you scroll. This one is just a list of the user accounts that exist on my computer, or that exist using this XAMPP. Because XAMPP works as a server, so it is showing me all the accounts that exist on this server. What I do, I come here and say add user account. When I click on it, it is going to ask me to put a username, and I'll say, maybe let me use Emis as my username. Then I'll have to type a password here. I'll come and say maybe Emis, capital E, MIS, small. Then I say at 2024. It is going to tell me my password is weak. It's okay. If you feel you are designing a commercial kind of website, you can come here, and instead of typing this, you make the computer generate for you a password. Of course, this one will be strong because it is comprised of very many letters and numbers. However, you need to make sure that you copy this. Open a text file, maybe your notepad. You open a text file, and you paste these things there. You come and tell us that password. Why am I telling you this? Because I don't want you to forget. Once you forget, things may become a bit terrible. Even copy the username. You come and paste here. Say username. Yeah, like that. So we have a username, we have a password also. In whichever arrangement you save these things, because they will help you for later. Now what you do, some people after creating the user accounts, they again come and create databases again. But me, I usually advise for someone to do it straight away from here. That as you're creating your user account, come here under this tab of database for user account and tell this computer that create for me a database with the same name and grant all privileges. What does that mean? It is going to create for you a database, but with the same name and password as the ones you have used above here for the user account. It is going to create for you a database in the name of EMIS. Okay, someone wants to join. Okay, you're welcome, Luganda. So it is going to create for you here a database with the same name EMIS and with the same password here. Now also check this that has grant all privileges on wildcard, and also come here and check all. You grant all these privileges. You may not at this moment struggle so much to know which privilege does what. You may not struggle so much about that. However, make sure you grant your account all the privileges that it may need. After you have filled everything correctly, scroll downwards until it reaches the end and click on this go button. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? We are trying to create a user account and a database that we are going to use when installing our WordPress. So this is what has happened. I've created a user account, and how do you know it has told me you have added a new user? When you come back to your user accounts here, EMIS is going to be there. You can come here and edit privileges, or you can just click here and edit. I don't fear to share this because for you are teachers, you may find a situation where a learner forgets some of these details. So if a learner maybe forgets the password or whatever, you can come here and change the password. You can come here and change the login information. You can go and change the databases, etc, etc. All those ones you can change. Now you can just come here and say maybe change password. It will prompt you to enter a new password. You retype it and you say go. When you are just loading in from your phpMyAdmin, so you are free to edit all the passwords. This one I'm sharing with you. You may not necessarily share with the learners, especially if you're using a networked kind of device, because one learner can be stubborn and changes all the user accounts, the passwords that you have shared with the learners. However, if you're using standalone machines, it is okay to brief these learners on how they are supposed to do it, because they may also be having commercial intentions after school. That is how we edit passwords. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to inform you that we have now created a user account with the name of EMIS, and this password that we have saved here, it is a bit long because I can't grasp it in my head. This one that we have here, and we have also created the same a database with the same name, that is EMIS, and the same password. Now what happens? I can now freely come here to a new tab and I type localhost /EMIS. I run it. It is going to tell me not found. The requested URL was not found on this server. You see, it is telling us on this server. Why am I starting with localhost instead of, you would say, but me, I know. We always start with www. That is why it has even refused no. I've started with localhost. Why? We are using an offline server which we have created using XAMPP, the program. So because this one is offline, www stands for World Wide Web. So it will only use www when we have a domain that is running on the internet and with internet connectivity. That is when we use www. But because this one is a local server that is running offline, that is why we don't use www, but we use localhost. We start with localhost to tell this computer that no, we are using a server that is on our computer. We are using this computer's server. Localhost emis. That is not important. I expected it to tell us not found. Why? Because we have now not installed WordPress. But I thought we already installing WordPress. No. We have been installing XAMPP and trying to set up a server. So at this point, I'm glad to inform you that you have set up a server on your computer and you have even created an account and a database. In other words, you have registered a domain on your local server that is locally installed on your computer. Now, you are going to again come back and you download WordPress because we now want to download or to install WordPress. So you come here and say WordPress download, like that. Still, it is going to take you to this web listing. However, like I advised for XAMPP, we said please try so much to download from the official websites. So for almost all the software that we use on WordPress itself and all its plugins, we always download from wordpress.org. It is the official kind of site. And you come to wordpress.org. The link is very direct. The link for this wordpress.org, it is so direct that it is just there. Download WordPress 6.5. So you can try to download. My internet is slowing down. I don't know whether people can still get me right. Okay, as you wait for the internet, as I usually train me, I usually talk about what we call check for understanding, to see whether people have really understood what we are talking about. We have been moving with people like Bonita, my boss here is also here, Ambrose has been there, Jamira, and I think Harrison. Yeah, is there anyone who can try to take me through what we have been doing? Maybe just a brief kind of thing to explain what we have really been doing. That way I'll also be re-strengthened to know that people are really following what we are doing. But if no one mentions anything, then I may be like, seems the network is not fine. Anyone who can? Yes, Harrison, please go ahead. Yeah, I think let's start with Harrison, then we shall have Ambrose later. Yes, Mr. Muhindo, Harrison.
Yes, please. Are you getting me?
Yes, I'm hearing you very well.
Hello. I've been using WordPress and XAMPP control panel, but as if it did not work well on my machine. I don't know if there are other requirements to install on the machine. Then I can try it also.
Okay, thank you so much. Your point has been noted very well. I think I'll explain later. Let us first hear from Ambrose. Then I react to your comment and we proceed. Yes, Ambrose, please go ahead. Hello, Ambrose.
Are you getting me?
Yes, I can now hear you.
Okay. So, the challenge I faced, I have known every step very well, but the problem comes in when they talk about that is it HTTP doc? There is a way you're supposed to play around with it, because I will know that you have to first install the other first app. Is it XAMPP? That one, Then
Why?
after WordPress comes in,
Someone with a pen.
but now you talked about
Nga togikozesa
playing around
nnyo.
with that. Is it htdoc? That's where my problem comes in, sir.
Mase kapepa kakulemye. Kola ngenda kujja nkulagirireko. Okay, Ambrose. Yes, your point has been noted. Yes, Francis also. Yes, I think you're the last one. We proceed. Yes, Francis.
Thank you. To me, I've learned that first of all, you need to download XAMPP so that we can make our computer to be as a local host the website. Then after there, you need to create an account on XAMPP on our local machine. Then we go to WordPress.org to download what? The WordPress, the content management system. That is where I joined when you are explaining there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is really a very good kind of thing, Francis. You have been following. Coming back to Ambrose's point, you have problems when we are dealing with htdocs. Yes, we are heading there. So I'm sure by the time we complete, I'll have answered your kind of problem. What else do I need to install? That was from Harrison. You don't have a lot to install. Just that some software, just as you have dealt with other versions of software or other programs, we may have very many challenges depending on very many features. Maybe the model of our computers, the software we download. For example, sometimes if you're using very old, okay, not very old, I don't want it to sound like it is very, very old, but if you're using older machines, sometimes you may need to use older versions of the software. I'll give an example on phones. For example, when you are dealing with a phone of Android version 4.4, you may not necessarily download the latest software. Sometimes when you're downloading, you go and say, download maybe WhatsApp APK for Android version 4.4, because sometimes those old phones and devices can have some challenging problems. So I can say that one can come from quite a number of problems, but maybe you can try software that you think is compatible. If the laptop is latest, or if it is one of the latest models, then you can go ahead to get the latest software, download always the latest software, follow the architecture of your computer. If it is a 32-bit, get 32. If it is 64, get 64. Then also try updating your software. Maybe you may be running Windows 7. If the computer can, update to at least Windows 10. If the computer can, update to at least Windows 10. Yeah, some of those issues may get a bit solved. Yeah, but I know WordPress and XAMPP as one of the programs that are not so limited to RAM, because they really don't need a lot of RAM. Even a computer that runs 2 GB RAM can work using this. Alright, allow me pick on from where I stopped. I have stopped. We have been downloading WordPress. So this is the website where we download the website, and the link is very clear. Download WordPress 6.5.5. So when you click on it, it is going to load and it will download for you WordPress in a zip format. So me, I'll cancel it because I already have it on my computer. It has this installation guide. When you click on it, it will tell you through it will take you through how you can install this kind of WordPress with some images. So if you feel you have not understood what I'm talking, and also the videos are not very clear that I'm doing here, you can then go ahead and try to look at the installation guide of WordPress. Ladies and gentlemen, I have downloaded my WordPress. It is here, WordPress 6.5.5 in a WinRAR format. This WinRAR kind of format. What do I do? It is very easy. When I'm talking to learners, I tell them to first extract to the desktop, then after they copy and paste. That is for the learners. However, for you as a teacher, you can extract directly to the other htdocs folder. However, let me take you through this step because it is a bit easier. After downloading your WordPress that has been, or that is in a WinRAR format, you open it, this WinRAR kind of archive, you open, and you tell this computer to extract the files to the desktop, because that is where you can easily access it from. You tell this one to extract to the desktop, so you come and say OK. It is going to extract the files. Extracting is like copying the files from this zip format to a format that you can easily use that is not encrypted. So on your computer, it is going to create for you a folder for WordPress. It is still extracting, but it has already created for you this folder for WordPress. Now, my brother Ambrose has been asking about how you play around with the htdocs folder. So it is done installing, so I will close this. When I open my WordPress folder, it will have very many programs here. These are all WordPress installation programs, so I'm going to show you how we deal with them. However, before you continue dealing with them, I would advise you come back to your control panel and look for a button that has Explorer from this area here. Look for Explorer. When you click on Explorer, it is going to open for you the XAMPP installation files or the XAMPP program files. When every program installs on the computer, it forms or it creates what we call program files. The files that have been, or the programs that help it to work. Now, in all these files and folders that help our XAMPP to work, it is where, let me check, someone is okay, it was just a message, it is fine. So here we are saying in all these kind of program files, we have this folder here, and in all the folders that it will create, there is a folder called htdocs. Actually, among all the files that we have, it is the only folder that we are allowed to change or to make changes to. It is the only folder that we are allowed to change or to make changes to. Now, what happens? You come to this htdocs folder that has been or that has come. Let me repeat a bit, just to repeat myself for clearance. I've said, after you have extracted your WordPress files, before doing any change to them, go back to your control panel and click on Explorer. When you click on Explorer, it will open for you the XAMPP program files. In the XAMPP program files, there will be a folder called the htdocs. It is here. Open the htdocs folder and create a new folder. Create a new folder and give it exactly the same name that you gave to your username and database. If it was capital letter, I would advise try to make it capital. And also avoid the names that have spaces in them. Sometimes they can be challenging with web addresses. They can be challenging because to put a space in a web address, you know, web addresses are not supposed to have spaces. Like when you're dealing with email, you're not supposed to say Mobiru Rodney, you leave space at Gmail. No. It is just a one thread that runs. So when you're dealing with web addresses, a space will always be replaced with a %20. I think it is %20. So I don't know whether you'll remember that to type it. So avoid names that have spaces. Now just come, we called our file emis. We called our username emis. So you come here and you create that folder with the emis. After creating that folder, where are we? We have come to the XAMPP installation files in the htdocs folder, and we have created a folder and given it the same name with our username for the account and the database. So we come and now open that emis folder. You can minimize a bit. You come to the WordPress files that you have extracted. It is okay to copy them. Please note what I'm doing. Just copy the files or cut the files that you have extracted and paste them directly into the other folder, not dragging the entire folder WordPress and you drop it here. No, that is not good. What you do, what me I'm saying, just come and open your folder that has WordPress, copy all the files that are there, cut, you can cut or copy depending on what you want, come to your MS folder that you have created in the htdocs and paste. You paste your files there. After that, you can close both of them. You can even delete this other empty folder that we have here. Let me look for WordPress. Okay. So now after that, you go back to your browser. I did this on intention because I wanted you to see what happens before I put my WordPress files and what happens after I put them. So now let me try to refresh. I've just come and typed localhost emis, localhost slash localhost slash emis. When I come and press enter, this is what is going to happen. You know, I did this before copying my WordPress files and this is what happened. Now let's try to see what is going to happen here. Just give it a few minutes. So I believe people are enjoying the session. I don't know whether it is of any importance or we are just repeating what people already know. It may take some time because it is configuring the WordPress files, so we can give it all the time it requires. So now it is here telling us localhost, which you see this time round it has not brought this not found whatever. This time round it has taken us to the WordPress setup configuration. You come here, you choose your language, and you know why WordPress is good? It supports very many languages. All these languages can be supported by WordPress. So you come and choose our English. If you understand the Bosanski, you can go with that. We choose our English. You press continue. Let me first check what is here. Okay. You press continue. It is going to tell you welcome to WordPress. Before getting started, you will need to know the following items. 1, you need to know your database name, you need to know your database username, the database password, database host, and table prefix. We know those. Why? Because when we are creating our account and database, we wrote them here. The database username and the database name are the same. So you don't need to be like, now how am I going to do this? No. They are exactly the same. So because I know all of these, I'll just come and say let's go. She's going to ask me what is your WordPress name. I come here and copy. My WordPress name is Emis. So I copy Emis. I come here and I paste Emis. Still in the username, you also paste the same. Password, you come and copy your password. Copied exactly this password. You copy, bring and paste it here. It is advisable to use strong passwords. Why? Because the hackers and other people cannot tap into your account if you have very strong passwords. Don't tamper with the localhost. Leave it the way it is, localhost. And also, because we are using localhost as our database host, and then we are table prefix, please leave it as WP. You may not need to touch it. So just enter the database name, the username, and the password. You submit. Once you submit, it is going to tell you, alright, Sparky, you have made it through this part of the installation and WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you are ready, time now to run the installation. please click on run the installation such that WordPress can be installed for you. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? We are trying to install WordPress on our computers such that we can use it to create websites. And we started with dealing with XAMPP. Okay, let me first enter this. To type the site title, you can use EMIS or any other name that you want. It is better you use the same name as your username, and you can also leave the same password. You can leave the same password. For the email, you can give it any email that you want as long as it is a valid email. Don't check this, leave it the way it is. Why? Because it says discourage search engines from indexing the site. Indexing is very important for search engines, so don't discourage them. Then you come and say install WordPress. Just to take you through, we started with installing XAMPP. And why were we installing XAMPP? Because we wanted to have DC, all these computers running as this computer running as though it is a web server. From installing XAMPP, we started Apache and MySQL as the modules that are going to help us. After that, we went ahead and created a database and a username for our website. After that, we downloaded WordPress, and after that, we have gone ahead to extract the files from the WordPress WinRAR format and pasted them into the htdocs folder or the emis folder that we have created in the htdocs. We have run the installation using the other details, and here we are. It is telling us success. WordPress has been installed. Thank you and enjoy. Our username is emis and our password, we chose the password. So you click here to log in. You come here and paste your password, the password that you're dealing with. You come here and paste this password, and you also come here and enter the other name, emis, as our username, like that. So you log in. You simply log in. It has taken us to the WordPress dashboard. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the WordPress dashboard. Now, let me explain the concept of front end and back end. Front end, I talked about it some time back. Front end is what the user sees when they visit your website. Back end is where you, the developer, goes to develop your website. Websites have two types. However, some people change this, but me in my writings, I put it clear. Websites have two types. We have what we call the static websites and the dynamic websites. Then, all the others are called the categories of websites, where we have the news site, celebrity site, the wikis or wikis, the news forums. We have the government sites, social media sites or social networking sites. All those are categories of websites. We can have a government website that is static, and we can have a government website that is dynamic. So static websites are websites whose contents, when published, cannot be changed. For example, you design your website offline. After you publish it or you host it with a company, but after hosting, you cannot change the contents of this website. And why does that happen? It happens only because after hosting that website, you don't give it a back end, or that website doesn't have a back end. Once it doesn't have a back end, it means you, the user, won't be able to go back to edit that website. So what do you do if you want to make changes? You have to take the entire website down and you rewrite it again, or you redevelop. That is for a static website. But for dynamic websites, they have both front end and back end. So their contents can be modified anytime. That even after installing or even after hosting, you can go back and make changes. You can even change how the website entirely looks. Why? Because we have a back end. So WordPress gives us that kind of chance. These back ends are very easy, are very hard to write because sometimes they require languages like PHP. Most of us who know web designing, people learn how to use Word, HTML and CSS, and they are not even Java. So back ends usually require PHP. But WordPress does it for us. It just gives us this interface for us to keep editing our website. And also for the dynamic, for the static websites, it gives us also a front end. So when I come and I search localhost, when I come here and search localhost emis, like we have been doing the other time, I've now installed my WordPress. So when I come and search, this is what is going to happen. It has already created for me a dummy website. And this is a front end, because when you visit my website, this is what you see. It has created for me a dummy website. Now, how do you reach the back end? Suppose I've closed this. How do you reach the back end? You come and type the same thing. You say localhost emis, the way we have typed it there. However, you don't end there. If you want to go to the, this one goes to the front end, but if you want to go to the back end, you come and say WP, the other prefix WP, then you put this hyphen and you say admin, WP admin, you press enter. So when you do that, it is going to take you to the dashboard. It is just that me, I've just signed in. But if suppose I use a different computer, it will start with asking me to log in with my username and password, these ones that I've used. So that is how it protects your back end, that if someone doesn't know your username and password, of course you can visit any back end of any website, as long as you know it's, even if it is online. As long as you know its web link, you just add WP admin, especially if it was designed using WordPress. You just add WP admin and you go to its back end. But before you access the back end, it will ask you to log in using the username and password. That is how it protects. And if you don't know them, you won't be able to reach the dashboard. But any website designed using WordPress, even if it is online, unless someone goes and changes the table prefix, because if you had changed the table prefix to maybe only W, then WP admin wouldn't work. We would need to put W admin, not adding the P. So that is the concept of front end and back end, and that is what I wanted to share today. Ladies and gentlemen, from here you can now go ahead and design any website using WordPress. In our next kind of meeting, probably on Sunday, we shall learn how we design pages or how we design websites using WordPress. We shall learn all these features, the posts, media pages and whatever. At this moment, I've spoken a lot. Allow me welcome questions from different people, starting from Mr. Kirama.